Hey guys, it's the natural progressive, just making sure that my volume is off so I don't have an echo. Um, so hey guys, sorry I am like so late. I didn't even realize today was Friday. I thought today was Thursday. So um yeah, poor Eric felt kind of blew off. But luckily you got in touch with me in time so I can hurry and get ready and get this going. So I want to welcome Hierophant again back to the show. He was introduced last Monday and now he's back. Say hi, Eric Hierophant.
Hello. Thanks for having me back on the show. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to have you. And a millennial, I mean, it's really hard to get younger people to talk about these difficult issues. Uh, I don't know where you're at on this, and that's one of the things I wanted to start out with, and then I wanted to get into the discussion on solar. So, tell me how you got down into this, like knowing what's happening. How did you get educated on the issue? How do you feel about it? Do you have friends that agree, or what are your friends doing?
Yeah, so I've kind of been in the environmental thing for kind of a long time. I guess my first big wake up call when I was 10 years old. That's when the population hit 6 billion. At that point in time, I was like, that's not sustainable. Even as a child, I could see, that the adults were basically insane. And so I grew
I
up
felt
not
that way
trusting.
too. I felt
Yeah,
that way too.
I grew up not trusting authority. I thought adults were kind of crazy. I mean, 6 billion people, that's so many people, and everyone's consuming constantly. And so just looking at the garbage, going, if you drive past a dumpster, you're constantly thinking, or I was at least, like that is so much waste that's being produced by every single family every single week. Where is this all this garbage going?
I used
You
to
know,
ask too. I used to
and people
wonder.
yeah, and people throw away like perfectly good things.
Mm.
Um, and so there's just so much waste that civilization produces, and I've been seeing that since early, since I was a child. Then growing up, so I got like into punk rock, and punk rock is all about like, it's super political. My sister, she got me into punk rock, so she was a animal rights activist, and there's a lot of that goes on in the scene. Believe it or not, like punk rock and hardcore is it's very political, and a lot of people do discuss animal rights and things. So you see a lot of vegans in that community. So my sister became a vegan, and she got me thinking about animal rights through the movie, or the documentary called The Mootrix, which came out like a year or two after The Matrix came out. So I saw that, and I saw factory farming, and all the evils that's associated with that.
Mhm.
Um, and then, I continued to just kind of go on with my life. Joined the Marine Corps when I was 19. I saw all the waste that's produced by the military, and they just, that's another super wasteful organization. But I also saw a different way to live with the military. So when I went to Afghanistan, I actually really loved being over there. I loved staying in Afghanistan because it was just such a different lifestyle. It's all about you wake up, you go to work, you do your job, you go home, rinse and repeat. And it's just the same thing every day. And you're not bombarded with consumer culture. You're out there to do a mission, to work with people, and to accomplish something greater than yourself. So I actually tried to stay out in Afghanistan longer than my deployment.
Mhm.
I requested to stay out there after my first deployment. They call it crossing deck. It's a naval term because sailors will cross deck from one boat to another.
Mhm. That makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, so unfortunately, I couldn't do it because the paperwork was too crazy. Um, but yeah, so coming back after my first deployment, I had this crazy cultural like shell shock. Uh, the very first day I got back, we went to Walmart, And this was like I hadn't been in a store for like 7 months, and coming back to the United States and going to Walmart and going to a store, and I just had this thought like this is what people do with their lives. Like they just go and buy shit that they don't need.
Right.
It seems so pointless. I guess yeah. Another big wake up call was the movie Fight Club. So that's just a movie completely about being anti-consumer. Uh, just denying that whole aspect of life.
I'll have to
Um,
watch that now. I didn't sound like a movie I'd be interested in, but now it kind of does.
you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I don't watch a lot of movies nowadays. I just haven't seen anyone's worth watching.
Oh yeah, Fight Club is amazing. That movie is fantastic. It's all about just wanting to tear down civilization.
Oh wow.
They form this club called Project Mayhem where they just go out and destroy civilization and every offshoot of it. It has a pretty awesome ending, so I'm not going to ruin it for you. But that is something that I've thought of before. It's like, what if this was created in real life? Like people that actually wanted something beyond just buying more shit that they don't need.
Yeah, we need a club like that.
Yeah. I guess this is the club. I don't know.
This is kind of that club. I mean, a lot of us are trying to become minimalists if we are already. I think at least me and my daughter, we're struggling really hard not to buy stuff with a lot of packaging and all that. And I've talked about it before, the bulk food store where we just take our own containers and buy the stuff and just reuse those same containers, because just the containers you use alone for what you consume, it is astounding to me. How many, if you go open your fridge and look at all the containers. I'm begging my husband not to buy orange juice in the plastic jugs anymore, or things like that. It's like, come on, we shouldn't be using all this plastic in our daily lives, and we shouldn't be buying stuff we don't need. We should just buy things we want, or not. Wait.
Yeah, buy things you want. Yeah.
No, don't buy things you want. Only buy things you need. I'm sorry. That's what happens when I'm totally unprepared.
No, it's all good. No, I hear you. Yeah, just across the street from me, there's uh, a manufacturing plant that manufactures plastic packaging, and it's huge. It's a massive facility, and that's like all they do ever since like the 1950s. They've been that's what they do all over the world. They're like one of the top, like number one plastic packagers in the world. So yeah, I get to look at that every day and realize like this is such a toxic organization, and it's right here, like right across from where I live. But yeah, getting back to like my wake up, I had my first real collapse wake up after Fukushima. So I was actually in Afghanistan during the time when the earthquake happened, when the tsunami hit. So I wasn't actually aware that a nuclear power plant was hit on 3/11, and so I didn't actually learn about Fukushima until I got out of the military and started looking. Well, I got online and I came across Kevin Blanche, and he pretty much woke me up to that whole thing as to how dire the situation was. I mean, a triple meltdown, China syndrome, a worst case scenario never seen ever before. And then they have the audacity to lie and say that Fukushima is not as bad as Chernobyl,
That's
considering,
crazy. That is
yeah,
insane. They haven't even tried to clean up. Now they're dumping extra stuff. By the way, I'm back. I was off for a while, off screen. Um, but yeah, thank goodness you kept the thing going. So anyway, I was gonna try to text Oz to say, hey, get me back on the screen, because there was two of you for a while. You noticed that, right?
yeah, yeah, I see you. Yeah, you're there.
Okay, now I'm going away again. Holy crap. Can you still hear me?
No, yeah, I got you. Yeah, yeah, you're
Okay.
coming through.
All
Oh,
right.
now there's two of me. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's going on. I think it's my internet connection, which I've spent hours on the phone trying to get a hold of someone to fix it. because I'm not getting steady connections. So anyway, so what do your friends think? Just to keep going. I mean, you said you had some friends in the punk industry. Now, is there quite a few, or do you guys talk about it at all?
Yeah, so I've lost touch with all my friends that were in the whole punk rock scene. Some of those people completely like dropped out of society mostly. And the punk thing is super interesting because like I did have friends that used to all live in like a giant house where there was like 15 people like living in a house, and they didn't buy any food. They just went dumpster diving basically because a lot of people throw away food, you know, and I that kind of woke me up to just the waste that businesses have. They just like throw away perfectly good food. So they would pretty much feed themselves just going to like bread shops because at the end of the night they'll just throw away everything they didn't sell that day. And yeah, so I saw that whole thing, you know, punks riding bikes and eating free food out of dumpsters. Um, but yeah, I lost touch with that crowd. Most people my age, I think, are completely, well, I wouldn't say completely unaware. Everyone has kind of like an inkling, but no one thinks it's that bad. You know, people think, oh, you know, if the Arctic melts, the sea level is going to rise. Big deal. I don't live on the coast. You know, that's kind of the extent where most people are at. And that's pretty much where I was at up until last year. And last summer, it's been pretty much a year now. Last August, I came across Guy McPherson's work. And then that was like, holy shit, 2026? Like, that's right around the corner.
Yeah, it is. And we actually don't know for sure. And I think he's kind of maybe backed off that a little bit too. But I don't know. We don't know how long we have. So, but that's scary. And it's definitely close. It's closer than people want to talk about in the major media. And that's the problem. The big media isn't talking about it to the extent they should be talking about it. And we should be panicking. We should be doing anything we can to preserve what we can. And yeah, so that's why I really wanted to talk to you about the solar thing. We had a discussion. Was on, I don't remember whether it was in the comments or on Facebook or whatever, but about the solar panels. I don't know. What do you think about the solar panels and how much can they be utilized without taking too much from the environment, from the mining and all that? What would be the best use?
So this is a huge can of worm and something I struggle with every single day. So, you know, coming across Derek Jensen's work, and I think is it the Javon's paradox?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, if we continue to add more energy sources, it doesn't actually displace any energy prior to that. We just keep adding more and more and more and more. Yeah. You know, and I don't necessarily think that this is a product of the energy sources themselves. I think it's really just a product of population overshoot. So, you know, one thing that I like to say is there's no such thing as sustainable overshoot. Right. We're never going to be able to catch up with the amount of people that we're adding. You know, if all things stayed equal and we weren't growing in population, we would actually be able to offset the nuclear and the coal with solar and wind. Now, those two methods, though, the energy return on investment, you know, there's that whole discussion. And then there's also energy density. You know, we're just not going to be able to continue our civilization having these forms of electricity that are not energy dense. You know, so I think oil is like 1 million times more energy dense than solar, and it's like 1 billion times more energy dense than wind. So, you know, this civilization is completely unsustainable when viewed from the perspective of peak oil. You know, we're not going to continuously be adding oil. It's impossible.
Right.
So the reason that I do solar is because I'm an anti-nuclear guy. I've been anti-nuclear since 2014, and I really just hate nuclear. I think it's a terrible idea. It's very short-sighted. There are so many problems associated with it. And so here in Illinois, we get 45% of our energy from nuclear, and we get about 40% of our energy from coal. So basically, everyone in the Chicagoland area is being powered by nuclear. So basically, we've been talking for the past, I don't know, however many minutes. In that time, basically everything around me has been powered by nuclear. Now, my house, we switched over to wind many years ago. So we've been off nuclear basically since Fukushima happened. We don't want to support the nuclear industry whatsoever. But yeah, that's the perspective that I view it as, is every house that I convert from traditional power over to solar, I am making the switch from nuclear to solar. So for me, it's a win.
Right.
But like I said, there's no such thing as sustainable overshoot. Now, in terms of the mining, okay, so the mining is another thing. I don't have the painting up behind me, but I've got an artwork of the Sami people from Sweden. So I am a little bit Swedish, and we're pretty sure, I think I have Sami blood. So what I've been hearing lately is the copper mines have been displacing the indigenous Sami people in Sweden. And so now I'm like, well, now I'm hurting like my own people, like my distant relatives. I'm helping to displace them by selling these copper backed solar panels. So I mean, it's just so, like, no matter what you do, it's like,
Yeah, there's
damned if
just
you
too many
do.
people to do anything that would actually. I mean, there's just too many people, and it all comes down to that, right? I mean,
There's just too many people. I mean, that's the main problem. I realized that at 10 years old, 6 billion people, like that. That's not sustainable.
yeah, I
And
realize
this is
that at a very young
they're
age.
just yeah, that's it. That's really what it comes down to. That's our biggest problem, is we just keep adding more and more and more people. 250,000 people being added to the grid every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Yeah, and then you have to come up with the energy if they want to. And people think they can just continue this lifestyle. You can't continue this lifestyle whether you're on any other energy. I mean, there's just not going to be enough for one, without totally destroying the biosphere, because there's just too many people. Adding just 250,000 people a day. Think of all the mining it would take just to get the power to heat their homes from solar or whatever, even uranium they're mining here for those stupid nuclear power plants. And it makes me ill. It's like, how much nature do we have to destroy before people get it in their head that we need to slow down population? We need to degrow seriously. I don't know. And it's not going to be in time anyway, but
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I do want to add to the solar thing, a lot of people say, like, you're going to be using all the mining, all the resources. So we get these numbers from the EPA, and they estimate that over the course of 20 years, the average home is going to burn somewhere between 100,000 pounds and 200,000 pounds of coal.
mm-hmm.
So, taking that into consideration, the mining impact of solar is still going to be less than the mining impact of having to harvest all that coal. With that being said, though, there just aren't the minerals available to sustain solar in the long term. So, China estimates that we have about 15 years of rare earth metals, and then after that, the deposits will be exhausted. So I mean, everything, nothing's sustainable. It just nothing's. I don't really see any solutions.
I really don't either, but I do think that we should reuse more of the stuff that people throw away. I mean, I know at least here, the dump, you have to pay to go in to get some things, and they don't let you just free search for stuff. People should be repurposing things, reusing materials and all that, instead of producing more. I mean, they should do that as much as possible in my view. I don't know.
Yeah, I live by the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. With
Mhm.
reduce being the utmost important. After reducing, you reuse, and then after reusing, you recycle.
Yeah,
Um,
if it's possible. But right now, what's happening to our recycling? It's just piling up in places. China won't take it anymore. It's piled up in Malaysia. It's like our recycling is not happening. There's very little true recycling right now going on. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's another can of worms that I'm kind of ignorant about. So, but yeah, I've heard that recycling's a joke. I still recycle. I don't
Well,
know.
just in case it makes it through the process, because
Yeah,
I guess recycled material is more expensive than building new. Like building it out of recycled plastic is how to process it. It's more expensive as well. So there, so there isn't a market for it. So people, yeah, they'd rather make new plastic rather than recycle the old plastic. Is from what I understand with the case.
yeah, that
So
makes sense.
yeah, exactly. So what do you think about, well, obviously you think solar is definitely better than nuclear, which I tend to agree. Um, and where you're in a different situation than where I am in Utah, we don't have nuclear plants. Although I'm pretty sure they want to build one on the Great Salt Lake, but I don't think the water's cold enough to cool the reactors, which is going to be a problem everywhere soon. So we've been talking about nuclear a lot on this channel because people are pushing it as a green alternative, and I really would like to say no, it's not a green alternative.
Yeah,
So
nuclear waste is not green. You
no,
know,
it's not, or the mining for it is not green. The uranium, it's not green to mine for it either. They're tearing up our, what used to be Bears Ears. They have uranium mines where they reduce the monuments. They're getting letting selling permits to mine for uranium for those nuclear plants. So even if we don't have one here, um, we're still being affected by it. And yeah, all the mining.
yeah, yeah, just got to keep mining.
Oh, mine. That's okay. That's what I see in like my day-to-day life. I see the impacts of mining, and it makes me sick just to see like bites out of mountains like everywhere you go in this state. Like it's if there's a piece of mountain that has something on it, they just dig it up and pull it out. Whether it's for gravel or copper. We have one of the largest copper mines here in right in this area where I live. Um, it can be seen from space. It's that big. It's huge. So I don't like the mining, and to think of more mining makes me ill because I know what it does. The mining and drilling for oil is like the number one reason species are endangered or going extinct is because of those activities. So,
Yeah, yeah, I want to touch on that a little bit. So you asked me about, other people that I know. One of the guys that I grew up with, I was in a band with him. He was our lead guitarist. He could play drums, he played guitar, he could play bass. He basically wrote all of our music. So he was our composer. Super smart guy, had an IQ of like 160. We used to listen to bands like Rage Against the Machine a lot. So growing up, he was like the coolest person I knew. And then something, I don't know, and it's happened to a lot of my friends. At a certain point, people either sell out or they buy in, whatever you want to call it.
mhm.
But he basically sold out. I don't know, like the last time I saw him, he was just like a completely different person. So this was when I had just come back out of the military, and I worked on UAVs. If you don't know, those are unmanned aerial vehicles, so
Oh,
drones
wow.
basically. Yeah, so I had worked on drones, and so I came back, and he was like, "Hey, me and my dad, we want to start up this business, a drone business." And their intention basically was to fly drones over the Amazon, and put these special cameras on them that measure density in the ground. So they would be able to check to see where mineral rich resources were. So they're going to
Oh,
go look for
that's terrible.
gold. Yeah, they're going to go look for gold in the Amazon. Like that's what their intention was. They're like, hey, do you want to join this project? Initially, like I was on board because I didn't know what their intentions were. I thought they were going to be doing different things with the drones, and then like that ended up being their main reason for doing it was to trying to locate uh, areas that were relatively inaccessible, which is basically like that movie Avatar, where they're mining for the unobtainium, and they go to like basically Eden, and destroy Eden.
Right.
So yeah, that was the coolest person I knew in high school, like a person who I thought was like,
You had it
I
down.
mean, his IQ just through the roof, 160, like super smart guy. Totally into all like the same politics I was. We had all the same punk rock friends, and then he hits like I don't know 22, 23. A lot of people just like get out of college and they buy out or they buy in, they sell out.
Hmm.
They just abandon all their values that they had prior to going into adulthood. And I think a lot of that is just the money, and people hit the quote unquote real world, which is actually the fake world, but they hit the real world, and then they're like, well, I need to make money. Money is the most important thing.
I
Like
know, and
that
that's
Wu
our
Tang.
culture. That's our culture.
Yeah, that's our culture. Yeah, the Wu Tang Clan, Cream, cash rules everything around me, and
Hmm.
everyone my age understands that. And so everyone, I think a lot of people my age are really just trying to make a lot of money. That's everyone's primary focus.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what you see here in Utah with all the Mormons, and Mormons are keep up with the Joneses people. That's, I mean, they consider, okay, they look try to look better than they even are, because they believe that if you're righteous, you'll be blessed with things and stuff and money. That they honestly believe that. So in order to look more blessed than everybody else, they buy more things and have to have bigger and better all the time. And my daughter Ariel came home crying because of it. She literally came home crying because of her family going, we need a bigger house, and it's like, we need it brand new in a better neighborhood. And she's like, no, you don't need that. I mean, it's a retired couple. There's just two of them, and they have a 7-bedroom house right now, and they want to expand and get an even bigger house. I mean, what is wrong with you people? That's not good enough. What's good enough? I mean, at that point, what's good enough? Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's killing
yeah, I
us.
worked for the first solar company I worked for. I'm not going to name them here, but they're based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and predominantly run by Mormons.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I saw that same behavior where you have these two guys. They come over to Chicago and they rent a 7,000 square foot house for two people, and it's like, holy shit, like what, why, like, and there's it's I don't know, I don't understand it, I don't get it.
I definitely don't either. Do you want to go through some of the comments? Maybe. Can you
Yeah,
see the
let's
comments?
let's yeah, let's check out some comments here.
I have really bad eyes, so okay. Human says, whatever happened to not using energy, not replacing the petroleum with another source? I agree with that. I would rather just reduce the lifestyle completely, like simplify, which is hard for a lot of people in the city to do because what do you do? You know?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Have you checked out Lord Hughes videos?
Yeah, some of them.
Yes.
He goes on and on and on sometimes, and he's monotone. So I always space out. I admit it's hard for me to pay attention, but I watched a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so he does there's two really interesting videos that I recommend people check out. He talks about Chronos versus Kairos.
Mm-hmm.
So Chronos is time, but it is time of the land, and Chronos is associated with cyclical time, with predictable time. So Chronos, or Saturn, is the god of agriculture. Um, Chronos is also the god of death. So it's associated with this cyclical pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to work. When the sun shines, make hay. That's where Chronos, that whole idea. So on land, things have to get done at a certain point. You have to plant seeds at a certain time. You have to harvest at a certain time. You
Mhm.
have to do things on a certain time. It's all cyclical. It needs to be done. Whereas Kairos time is experiential time, and it's the time that's associated with the sea. So when the wind is blowing, the wind is blowing. When the wind is not blowing, the wind's not blowing. So you take advantage of the energy when it's available. And
Right.
so wind and solar, they're associated with Kairos time. So we're going to take advantage of things when they're available, and then when they're not available, we just don't even worry about it. So we're trying to use sources of energy, wind and solar, that are based around Kairos time, and we're trying to implement them into the land, which is based on Chronos time.
Hmm.
Um, so if our civilization or people in general just went more based off of Kairos time and just accepted that things are going to happen when they happen. You can't really force anything. I think we'd be able to prolong the civilization a lot further.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I agree with that. I mean, just think of our work schedules where we're up before daylight, and you have to use all that electricity just because you have to be to work before daylight. And if we just worked a little bit more naturally with the world, and slept during the dark times and worked during the daylight hours, and uh you know okay, let's see. Do you see any?
Trisha said gold mining is destroying the Amazon, leaves behind mercury poisoned areas where nothing will ever grow again. Yeah, I didn't actually know that. I just kind of, knew that gold mining was displacing the indigenous people. I wasn't actually aware about the mercury being left behind, but
Oh
that
yeah,
makes sense.
the stuff they use to separate the rock from the gold. And there's chemicals in all these processes of mining that get left behind. So as Shiva, wait, no, wait, this is talking to us, Shiva. This is Trisha again. Millennials are the new hippies, huge communities of gorgeous vegans, campouts, tiny houses, minimalism, and animal rights. Yes, 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 yes. I think there's more millennials that are like that than definitely the older folk, like me. So,
Yeah, I think that's somewhat true. I would have to kind of disagree here a bit, though. I think for every one millennial that goes off the beaten path, there are going to be like 5 to 7 or 15 or 20 more millennials that are just going along with business as usual. So I don't think my generation is going to save the world. If you're counting on people my age or people younger than me moving forward, I don't know. I don't see it.
I don't know if they're going to move the needle, but millennials promote profit over people less than baby boomers. It's too bad, Gen X. I don't know. It's too bad, Gen X. No, I don't know. I'm Gen X, so I think Gen X was horrible, and Boomers are horrible. I mean, they are huge consumers. They always were. I think the millennials, just because of the situation they are monetarily, with high student loan debt and cost of houses and low wages comparatively, I just don't think they're consuming as much. I mean, maybe avocado toast. I'm sorry, that was stupid. It's a joke that people use a lot, that you spend all your money on avocado toast. I'd rather you spend your money on avocado toast than fancy cars and trips and stuff. So that would be better, as long as it was locally grown organic avocado. Okay. Any other questions stick out to you?
Yeah, I
See,
can't get this one up. Look at the entertainment sector. All the millennials promote materialism. I have to agree with that, but at the same time, Eric, I agree with you. I think millennials are the ones that are going to have the light bulb go off much quicker than us old dogs.
Yeah, but it's going to be too late. And I think they kind of know. I think a lot of them know it's too late to do anything about it. I don't know. Do you think they do? I'm judging by my daughter that lives here, and then some of them think it's not so bad. It's not going to be as bad. Nah, not going to happen to me.
Yeah, I see it being divided down political lines. So leftist millennials recognize that there's a problem, and then the right wing millennials think that it's a communist plot.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously. Okay,
obviously the commies.
Obviously the commies. Oh. Ben Wilbur, I think Professor Dr. Guy McPherson is spot on, so I just accept what's coming. I think he's pretty correct. I'm not sure exactly on the timeline. I think it could go either way, sooner or later at this point. But I don't know. I don't. I do accept our fate. I just don't want to accept the fact that we should just throw our hands in the air and not try and protect the animals and the nature as long as we can. That's my whole point. So
yeah, that's more or less where I'm at too. Yeah, coming across Guy's work last year, initially I went right towards denial. Like I remember I saw his first presentation and immediately I was in the comments section like bullshit, like you're full of shit.
really,
yeah, like immediately that was my instant knee-jerk reaction. And then I ended up reading his his super long essay where he has all the links in it. I got about halfway, and then I was like, "Damn it! Like he's right. Like we're screwed."
Yeah, there's just too many ways we're screwed, though. It's not just the climate change; we're destroying everything.
Yeah.
Human, you're right. Generalizations are correct 50% of the time. Okay. No more generalizations. Dang it. Let's see. Any other questions? Oh, here we go. Mark Roche, hello. Back in the 70s, I thought the civilization was finished by 1990. We might hold on another 20 years for all I know. Yeah, we really, really don't know. But the fact is, it's getting worse. Like, there's a lot of disasters and heat waves and things that are just getting worse. So, and we haven't stopped consuming and creating garbage that's not going away and polluting the waters. That's fact. That's there. It's right there in front of us, right?
Yeah, things seem to be speeding up. So I'm still kind of new to the whole climate talk. You know, I know people have been here for 4 or 5 years. I came into this last year, and last year I checked Paul Beckwith's channel, and he was saying 2034 is when he predicted things. Is when he predicted a blue ocean event. So he was saying beyond 2030, and that was just 1 year ago. Now it's been a year, and he's moved up his prediction to prior to 2030.
Yeah,
so
I think he said on his last one, 2024 is what he was thinking.
Yeah, 2024. So everything looks to be accelerating. I think we're in that hockey stick, part of the graph here.
Crazy feedback loops going on. By the way, hi guys, Trisha, Michael Cooper, Choctaw Warrior, Human of course, as Shiva, always nice to have you in the chat. Scott Murto, who else? Just gonna read Anthony Davis, hello. Who else? Val's here. Hello, Val. Okay, if you see any questions, statements.
Yeah,
okay.
Trisha, no, it's statistical. People are dying younger. Diet is worse. Too many chemicals in food and environment. Hard to be healthy in this world. I think that's super true. On the last talk when Val was here, he was talking about all the antibiotics they put in cattle. When I was living in Oklahoma, I started having all sorts of crazy health problems because the meat that I was eating there was just so toxic. And Tulsa is what's considered a food desert. So no matter where you go in Tulsa, the food is basically, it's nutrient deficient.
Mhm.
Unless you want to go to Whole Foods, and that's about the only place where you're actually going to get a real meal. But everywhere else you go in that city, you're actually not going to be feeding yourself anything good. And then, I think this whole transgender thing is being caused by all the hormone disrupting chemicals that are in all the food. So we were seeing like a lot of people in Tulsa, even though that's like a super right wing town, there is like this there seems to be an abnormal amount of transgender people in that city for whatever reason, and I think it's the food.
That's possible. I mean, who knows what all those chemicals and processed foods are doing to us. Yeah, and not to mention the deficiencies in because the soil isn't good anymore in a lot of places. So Andy says even if a civilization continued normally without global climate change for 100 years more, by then the population would be bad enough for everything to go south. Population, plastic, air pollution. Love it. Yes, Anthony, you are pretty correct. I mean, climate change doesn't even have to be a thing if we don't handle the root cause of the situation, right? Yeah, the world has been dying your whole lifetime, destruction everywhere, but you are a witness to the plan. What is the plan? I don't know. I think most people under 40 around today are going to witness the end. Like at least like well, they may not survive that long, but I think it's going to be pretty bad. Let's see. Do you see any more? Let's see. Hormone disturbing substances. Ben Wilbur. Prison food's the worst. Oh, Sandy, I love you. It's good to see you in the chat too.
Hi, Sandy.
Oh, let's see. Cheryl Hewitt, hello. Atropine causes sex changes in frogs. Atropine.
They're turning the frogs gay.
Yeah, they're turning the frogs gay.
But seriously, they are.
Ah! Alex Jones, he's hilarious. But
yeah, Alex Jones. I mean, I don't know. He's entertaining to a degree. I know a lot of people hate him, but
I don't like him, but he is very entertaining.
yeah.
Let's see. What else? Okay, Choctaw Warrior, all the guys eating and drinking soy. I don't know what that's referring to, but
breasts, building breasts.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. We talked about that. What's in the hormones like causing men to have breasts and stuff.
Yeah, estrogen is toxic to the male system, so it'll cause a whole bunch of problems. Not just like growing breasts, but it'll mess with your prostate. It can cause heart attacks. There are all sorts of things that estrogen can do to the male system. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy that doctors are being allowed to give men estrogen.
That is crazy. I don't. Yeah. By the way, Aunt Tina's here. Hello. Saying hi to everybody. Let's see. We missed you with Kevin. We were in the cemetery. Yeah, I know you were in the cemetery when I was interviewing Kevin. That's cool though. You were with Ambone. Let's see. That sounds really bad. Hi, Density McCartney. I just want to make sure I say hi to everybody really quick. All right. Ashiva, men are becoming infertile from the... Okay, please don't make me pronounce words like this today. Bisphenol A contained in the making of water bottles. Ooh. Well, that's kind of good though. Kind of.
Yeah, it's yeah.
That's a good bad scenario.
Yeah, it plays hell with your pancreas, though. So.
Yeah, but the infertile part's okay. We need that. Need to slip infertility stuff into the water of everybody, I think. And I get in trouble every time I say that, but seriously, I want to plan it. Not that it's not too late. Let's see. Check out the vegan bodybuilders and the game changers, Naimai Delgado, etc. I don't know what that is. There's vegan bodybuilders. Have you heard of
Yeah, I've
vegan?
heard of vegan gains.
Really? Huh. That's
Yeah, I've heard of a few.
Huh. Wow. Well, I guess if you can be a bodybuilder, they must be doing it right, getting enough protein and all that, because you need protein to build muscle. So there's that. I guess all the plants have the proteins if you get the right plants. My problem with that is, do you have those plants that are good like that locally available to you without transporting them from other places? Because a lot of the healthy stuff, this is really huge to me because I really understand veganism and all that I do. But if you can't get what you need locally, that will just cause more transportation of goods, which is something I don't think we should be transporting our resources. We should be using our local resources, locally grown, which
Yeah,
of course is impossible with the number of people we have. So
Yeah, I've heard that argument against veganism is the only way veganism is sustainable is through these superfoods, and the superfoods have to be transported around the world. So
I have never
otherwise,
heard that argument before, but it's just something I'm thinking about transporting everything, especially food, because that's like a staple everyone eats. So let's see. Trisha, soy is 1,000,000 times healthier than meat and dairy product. Why don't people do away with their brainwashing, please? Well, soy is good, but where is it? Does it grow here? I mean, I don't know.
it's not good for men.
It's not good for mutton. What?
Yeah, for men.
Mun?
For the male system, soy is not good. It'll produce
men.
estrogen.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I totally heard mun. Like,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
Not good for the man.
Oh, that's funny. And for soy, they're also destroying the forest for soy and for ranching. And, you know, whatever we eat, I want it to be not destroying the rest of the world. And I don't know. I'm trying to become vegan. I'm working really hard on it. So I'm not totally vegan, probably more vegetarian than vegan because, you know, because of what we have locally here. There's no way. I'm in a small town. You can't buy all the vegan stuff. And I don't want to buy vegans, special stuff shipped in from far away or anything. I'm just increasing my vegetables and decreasing my meat consumption, hopefully phase it all out altogether. But I'll probably still have some dairy in that. Let's see. James Cameron movies, The Game Changers, on release next Monday. Nemai Delgado, Patrick Babmonian, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know any of those names except for Arnold Schwarzenegger is now vegan. There are lots of vegan athletes. They look amazing. That's cool. They can do that. I don't know. I guess I need to do more research or talk to more people who are vegans to find out, more. I'm watching some videos on it and stuff.
Can I weigh in on this for real quick?
Sure.
Since I'm hiding behind the curtain. Speaking from, a last of the boomer, 60 plus, we need to eat vegan the older we get because we can't tolerate, the beef and the chicken and the cheese. The dairy products kill us after 60. So going vegan, if you're after 60, you really should consider it because it really tears your body system down that much quicker. That said, can you imagine how much your body through, 0 through 60 has had to replace and work with a non-vegan diet? We weren't originally... we didn't evolve. Weren't we herbivores when we first evolved? I think that's correct.
I thought we were omnivores, and we'd eat insects and plants and.
Maybe that's it. I know we weren't originally meat eaters. Was the point, right?
Right. No, we didn't get to hunting for a while, unless you consider insects, an animal that you hunt. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was like, foraging in insects to start out with. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Trying at least a week without eating beef, that would be hard for me. Even people I know are beef eating machines. Not proud of this. Well, I encourage anyone to at least eat less meat, but
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm trying to eat a little bit less meat. I still eat meat. I'm still going to eat meat. I'm not going to switch over to a vegan diet. I think that's, for every body type is different. I have seen evidence that most animals are omnivores. So you can go check out, it's like SV3 Ridge channel. He has all this footage of herbivores eating other animals. So elephants, horses, squirrels, goats, animals that we traditionally consider to be herbivores. There is footage. Basically, any animal that you've thought that is a vegetarian, there's probably a video out there of it eating another animal.
I know I seen one of a horse eating a baby chicken. It was disgusting.
Yeah. And one person in the comment section, they were like, I fed my rabbit raw meat one time and it got like all like blood, like blood crazy. It just like wanted more. It got so excited and it
That's crazy.
devoured the raw meat. And then, cause he said, when I give my rabbit carrots or lettuce, like it just kind of like ignores the food. But
I'm never giving my rabbits meat ever. I give them bread, and that's what they love, bread, and then I give them fresh vegetables in their pan. They're spoiled. I'll just put the alfalfa pellets in there and call it good. I think that's just mean, but it's like I live on dry alfalfa pellets for your whole entire life. Ew.
Human makes a point here. This was a pretty big story yesterday. Teenage boy goes blind after existing on Pringles, white bread, and French fries all of his life. He's 17. He's blind as a bat now because he got no nutrition. And Joey, she's all about vegetables. I mean, she's got me eating weeds, edible weeds out of our backyard.
I've done that.
yeah. I mean, this is what happens. A bit more slowly people who change it up, but my eyesight's getting shitty now too. So, I haven't had as many vegetables, another reason to go vegan or whatever. But this was frightening. And my question on this one, the teenage boy going blind, what about his parents? Is this, Eric, do you think this is out of ignorance or ability to get vegetables? What do you think that's all about? I mean, nobody in the right mind would eat that crap, would they?
Okay, so this is a kind of a funny yet sad story. I knew a guy in the Marine Corps who the only thing he ate was cheese sticks and Mountain Dew.
Oh, fuck.
Like literally that was his entire diet.
Oh my God.
He was in fantastic shape. It was the weirdest thing. But yeah, he would like piss blood all the time. And he was like, I'm pissing blood again. Like, no big deal. Like, let me just eat more cheese and Mountain Dew.
And he's dead now, right?
He has, I don't know. That guy is a machine. He has a lot of problems.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Well, the keto diet's fat-based. I mean, that's I'm even thinking about easing into something like that because once you eliminate the sugar intake, your body moves over and starts burning up the fats in your body. So, I don't know. What do you think about the keto diet as far as that goes?
Eat meat and cheese.
No, I mean, you'd have to cut that out, because I'm all about the factory farming now, too. I'm trying to get away from, I've reduced, thanks to Brian Cheeseman, I've reduced my meat intake by about 80-90% in the last year. So
yeah, I've reduced mine a lot as well. Yeah, I not into it almost makes me sick to think about it now. To eat it, when I'm looking at when I'm cooking it, I'm like, oh my God, this is an animal. It's getting harder and harder. Horses on Iceland eat birds. Really, Ben? That's weird. Ben Wilbur. That doesn't surprise me though. I mean, if you're hungry, what do you eat? And especially, well, Iceland's green. It's not That's not the snowy one, except for in the winter. I bet you in the winter they'll eat anything that they can get their mouths on. Let's see. Trisha, raw produce is where the nutrients are. Processed food is dead and addictive. Yeah, I try not to eat any processed food. How are you on processed food?
I don't eat very much processed food. Yeah, I went to McDonald's for the first time in like a year, not too long ago, and
Mhm.
oh my God, I felt so fatigued. I ended up sleeping for like 12 hours straight. I just felt so sick.
I always feels like
Um,
a rock in my stomach after I eat to places like that. Generally,
yeah, I was like, it was delicious, but I mean, it just wasn't worth it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
I don't know,
definitely.
it's so bad.
No, I just cook my own. I know where it comes from. A lot of the vegetables I grow myself now, and I'm canning. That's the new thing, canning. Um, because then you can store the stuff that you've made. Yes, it's not raw, but it's how else you're supposed to keep it over winter? You can't eat raw vegetables over winter when there's no vegetables, right? What else? Unless you're shipping them in from foreign countries, which is a bad thing. Local farmers markets, things like that. I don't know. Do you have farmers markets in Chicago?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we try to buy from the farmers market occasionally.
Mm. See, that's cool because you can buy a whole bunch and then you can can it. And canning is not as hard as it sounds. Let's see. People who eat processed food have shorter lifespans. Yeah, I think they probably do. I don't know. So Eric, I don't know how long we've been on. Even I don't know how. I know I was really late. How long have we been on?
57 minutes.
Okay, we're going on the hour. Is there any closing words? Is there any um I don't know, discussions you'd like to bring up for Monday? Anything like that?
Not really. Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. Well, it was
Yeah, it's
really great.
whatever. I mean, it's all gonna collapse. There's, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's all gonna collapse. But thanks guys for coming on. Yeah. I will be back on Monday. I'm sorry I was just a wreck today because I thought today was Thursday and not Friday, which is really sad that it's Friday. I mean, it's not sad for most people. But happy Friday the 13th, everybody. And have a very good night or night. It's not even night, but have a very good afternoon. And I will talk to you soon. Have a good one.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Eric.